Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And the Saturday girl is at it again. Mairi McAllan is being questioned over the whole Edinburgh Tram fiasco. And there is no other word to describe it. It's something that should have cost about £100 million, ended up costing £500 million, and possibly more. And she's saying that they were lucky they got away with only spending £500 million. It could have been worse. But thankfully, her department decided to remove all the experts and let Edinburgh Council take it over instead. You couldn't make this up. Anyway, other people have said that that's a load of old rubbish. She doesn't know what she's talking about. And it was all the wasteful decisions by the council that got it all the way up to £500 million. Which do you believe? The experts would have made it cheaper, or no experts and giving it to a bunch of amateurs who don't know what they're doing made it more expensive? I think I know where I'm going. Anyway, we'll take a look at this story and see why, yet again, Saturday Girl has screwed up royally. Here goes. You've got to say, first of all, you couldn't make it up. And secondly, who couldn't have seen it coming? When you take experts out of a project and allow the project to be run by a bunch of idiots who know nothing about it, who were elected into office by an even bigger bunch of idiots. What the hell were they expecting? It's a stunner, isn't it? Anyway, Scottish Government failed to back up Mairi McAllan's comments, disputing the Edinburgh Tram's inquiry conclusion. Yet she's trying to pass the buck and trying to point it and deflect it and say that it wasn't the fault of the SNP. It certainly wasn't John Swinney. Even though we remember Swinney's name was mentioned 100 times or something in the actual report, and it was undoubtedly John Swinney, but she can't have that because she owes him her undying loyalty or something. Anyway, the SNP's Transport Secretary claimed that the lengthy report into the shambolic Edinburgh Trams inquiry was flawed, as the evidence heard does not support the conclusion drawn. But the government could not provide its own evidence to back this up. No, what she's saying is that the evidence did match the conclusion, but she just didn't like the conclusion, and so was trying to put a new spin on it. But in actual fact, you can spin it all you like, love, but facts is facts, and you is wrong. The Scottish Government has failed to provide any evidence behind comments from a senior minister disputing the findings of the Edinburgh Trams inquiry. A lengthy report placed the blame for the shambles at the door of Edinburgh City Council and also SNP ministers such as John Swinney. Lord Hardy partially blamed the then Finance Secretary for the waste of £500 million in building the transport system in Scotland's capital. He was named more than 100 times in the publication, with some of his decisions leading to the project exploding in price and being delayed. And that's because Swinney, not an expert in tram system, chop and change and chop, let's move that there, let's put that there. Instead of going, let's hire in experts, is that the plan? Okay. Now let's hire in the people to build it. Are you building it? Yes. And what the government then do is walk the hell away and wait until they've finished it and hand over the keys. And that means it's quick, efficient and on time and on budget. Every time a politician gets involved, it just gets worse. Because they can't help themselves. Because they're all, as we know, morons. Anyway, despite this, the Transport Secretary, Mairi McAllan, came out to support her colleague and disputed some of the findings within the report. You can't dispute the reality, darling. She said the Scottish Government places the highest importance on the efficient spending of public money. Does it really? Oh, better have a look at that iPad then. Make sure that was an efficient spending of public money. Never mind the millions being wasted on independence, even though there's no chance of independence. Full of absolute horseshit, these people, aren't they? Anyway, she said it is why the public inquiry was to set up and given statutory powers to thoroughly investigate matters, which it has done, and it arrived at a conclusion that you don't like. She said it was also why we committed significant resources to diligently support the inquiry and to engage meaningfully and openly with it. Never in the history of the SNP have they done anything openly, so let's draw a line on that one. Anyway, she said, however, the inquiry took too long, was too costly, and in some instances the evidence heard does not support the conclusion drawn. I think it does. Kept saying, didn't it? Politicians, SNP, council politicians for the SNP, national politicians for the SNP, SNP all through it. It's like a stick of Blackpool rock. No matter where you crack it, it says SNP all the way through the middle. She then doubled down on these initial comments last month in a ministerial statement about the shambles, where she failed to mention Mr. Swinney once. I know, amazing, isn't it? Sort of rewritten, completely rewritten, revised. His name was erased from every document. It was almost Stalinist in making him disappear. But only this time, not for the good reasons, but for bad reasons. Anyway, Mr. Swinney. Anyway, she was attempting to downplay her party's role in the scandal, which is impossible because her party was like a cancer all the way through it. Lord Hardy highlighted the former Deputy First Minister's biggest mistake when ordering Transport Scotland to scale back its involvement in the project in 2007. Transport Scotland, you know, the ones that have got the experts, the ones that have got the people who know what they're doing. But of course, they want the experts removed because the experts will say this, this and this. And that isn't what the SNP want to hear. So if you get rid of the experts, then you let the council do it. And they know everything. Or, wait, the other thing, isn't it? They know nothing. This meant that officials who had expertise in the initiative were left out of any decision making, and resulting in Edinburgh Council taking full control and running up avoidable costs. Miss McAllan disputed any notion that this was a bad thing. She disputed the fact that you take experts out and let unknowing councillors make bad decisions, running up costs. Oh, no, that's a bad thing. You know, you should never let, it's a bad thing to let these experts in. Of course it must be the council that spends this money. Anyway, she claimed that this is how they only managed to lose 500 million instead of more cash. Let's bill them. Let's bill the SNP this money. Let's see how much she changes her mind all of a sudden. She said failure to clarify the role of Transport Scotland would have been an abdication of leadership and would have led to poor governance and confusion all round all roles. You tell me that this wasn't poorly governed? That there was no confusion? Wow, amazing. So this whole $500 million debacle was as the result of good governance and no confusion. You couldn't make it up, could you? Anyway, she said it was exactly because of the clarity and clear setting of government boundaries that the government funding for the project remained capped at the agreed 500 million and not a penny more. It was originally 100 million. It ballooned to $500 million after 3 inputs of cash, and eventually the government said, look, we're not putting any more in. You'll get a bit more now. That takes up to $500 million. We're not anymore. It should have been 100 million. It should have been 20% of that cost. But hey, experts, the SNP, experts at everything. The Scottish Daily Express asked the government to supply the evidence to back up Miss McAllan's initial comment, where she said, in some instances, the evidence does not support the conclusion drawn. However, the SNP executive claimed they did not have some of the information you've requested, and that some of it was already included in the published Tram inquiry report. The official then added that the reason for this is because the minister was offering her thoughts or opinion. Note the Freedom of Information legislation does not cover this unless they've been recorded. Her thoughts and opinion are worthless because the Saturday girl knows fuck all. The square root of that, in fact, because she's like 12 and she's still colouring in. But don't give her the purple crayons. She eats them. What a moron. Coming up. So there you are. The official SNP position, as laid out by the Saturday girl, is that if you remove all the experts from a very, very expensive and highly complex project and just let elected councillors who know nothing about it make all the decisions, it's a good thing and it will save money and be much, much more efficient. Words fail me. Can we stop letting children and morons have positions of authority? Or can we just let the intelligent adults in the room start running the world? For heaven's sake. £500 million pissed away on something that should have been done for 100 million. Had the experts got in and told the politicians, look, piss off, you've got the plans and we're building it. Come back in 2 years' time and you can cut the ribbon and look fantastic. then life would have been great. No, that wasn't it, was it? What a bunch of tits. Anyway, finish there. Thank you very much for watching. It is stunning though, isn't it? Anyway, till next time, stay safe, stay well. I shall talk to you later. Bye.